Hey everyone, this is Mark. We just watched the Samsung event where they just unpacked the Samsung Z Fold Ultra and the Samsung Z Fold 8. So you've got two 8s, one's an Ultra, and then one's just a Fold 8. And we're going to talk about these. And in this video, I'm going to show you some side-by-side comparisons. We're going to also do some visuals where you actually see these screens side by side so you can really get an idea of what they look like and compare them together so you know what you're looking at when you choose which one to buy. Let's go. So in the event, was there any surprises? Anything we didn't really already know? Not really. So we're basically going to talk about the only surprise there might have been is the battery, where they're talking about putting in the silicone carbon battery, which is the same they put in the Chinese models that give them those great battery sizes. So the question is, why didn't they go larger? Well, we really don't know the answer to that, but I guarantee you pretty much that next year the battery sizes on these are going to change dramatically. Now, of course, the rest of the event, you can watch it on YouTube. They just talked mostly about AI, nothing new, nothing that we didn't already really know, just maybe with a new tag phrase or a new title. And then, of course, there are other projects like the up and coming AI glasses. Okay, that's coming. And of course, they're new Galaxy watches. So if you want to watch for those, go for it. Now, of course, the Z Fold 8 Ultra is coming out in several different colors, as you can see here. So just pick the one you want. Go ahead and order it today. Now, something that we weren't quite sure was going to happen is, were they going to upgrade the pre-orders and storage? Well, nope, not this year. And it's probably because of that storage shortage. So, you know, there you have it. You got to start out with a 256. Now, of course, what we got right was pretty simple because, the Z Fold 7 didn't change much with the Ultra, as far as cameras go, and the design. I mean, looking at these real closely, it's pretty much the same with the button lineup, the camera setup, even the flash positioning, and USB-C. Everything's pretty much the same. And as you can see, the speakers are on the same side as well on this phone. Now let's talk about the Z Fold 8, or what we've been calling it anyway, the Z Fold 8 Wide. It has the two cameras, as we all predicted. It's got the 50 megapixel ultra wide, what I'm assuming is probably the same exact one that we have in the Z Fold Ultra now. And then it has a 50 megapixel main shooter. And where this phone is lacking is the telephoto. So a lot of folks say, which one should I get, the Ultra or the standard wide? Well, if photography is a big deal, well, you get the extra camera here, which is a 10 times, I'm sorry, a 10 megapixel, 3 times zoom, which is really kind of poor within itself, but it does have it, where this one doesn't have that. And what they're going to do is 2 times cropping on this to give you that simulated 2 times zoom. But I got to say, if you're not one that does zooming much at all, you just like to point and shoot, this will be more than enough. Now, something I am surprised about, they're putting the same chip in the wide as the Ultra, so there's no changes there. And they're both getting 12 gigabytes of RAM unless you upgrade to the terabyte version. And then they'll give you 16, which is really what all the other competitors have. So that's not really a great advantage with Samsung. They should have put in 16 like everybody. But of course, there's a shortage. So, what are you going to do? Now, as far as the battery goes, at least they did put a bigger battery than the Z Fold 7. They have a 48 milliamp hour battery in the new wide versus a 44 in the Z Fold 7. So at least they are upgrading the battery a little bit, and they are putting that 45-watt charger right here in the standard Z Fold. So that's a great benefit. Now, what they're not putting in either one of these, of course, is the MagSafe built in. They want you to get their cases. Now, I've gotten some questions on the pre-launch videos that I've done. People were saying, well, what about the aspect ratio? Is it really different when you're consuming media, when you're watching videos or browsing? Well, let's take a quick look at that, and I'll compare the two. You see a little bit more on the wide aspect ratio phone than you can on the standard Ultra. When you set them up like this, I mean, if you look here, you can see you want to just focus on the specs here, but if you go to the side, you lose half of it. So you actually have to move it over to see everything. Where here on the standard model, you see everything right there in the layout, which is kind of neat. Now, so you might say, well, what if you turn the Z Fold Ultra and see what happens? Well, it's the same thing, because it's pretty much a square, so nothing's really changed. It's still the same thing, so you don't get a change there. So the question is, what if you turn the wide fold and lay it down? Check this out. Well, as you can see here, you get a much longer view, okay? It's more like a piece of paper, a tablet, a full version of a web page. So that's pretty cool. Now it is a little small, but of course you can pinch and zoom if you want to enlarge it. And same with this one, you know, if you shrink it down, you can get the full thing, but you've got to scroll down to see. Let's see how much scrolling I got to do to get down there. You got to scroll quite a bit to be able to see the ending there on the ultra versus the wide. So the wide gives you a lot more view. Of course, depending on your eyes, you might have to pinch in a little bit more, but at least you get a fuller capture of the site all at once. So as far as media consumption, I think this wider fold, even when you turn it to landscape mode, you get a whole lot bigger view. Now I know a lot of you want to see the aspect ratio difference if you're watching a YouTube video, so check this out. Here we go. So as you can see here, you got a lot of bars here on the standard or the taller Z Fold. You know, when you have it in its natural mode, when you just open it up like a book, versus the wide, of course, much better, much less bars here on the top. Now, so you want to say, well, what if you turn the Z Fold? Well, let's check it out. Let's see what the difference is. Turn the Z Fold, the taller one, and let's see if we can kind of line them up in the center. You can see there it's still a bit larger on the Y Fold. So this will be personal preference, very close to the same, but the problem is here that I see right away is the camera is right there in the screen. So if you're watching a video, it protrudes right there on the screen versus over here on the wide, you don't see that. Now, if I widen them to full screen, and you can see here, even stretching out to full screen, you still got a lot more here. Look at the sides. It's all cut off here on the standard tall Z Fold, where you still have it on the wide. So you have a lot more viewing on the wide fold. Now let's take a look at the external screen and see how they differ. Now you can see folded up here, you still have a bit more viewing surface here on the wide fold than you do on the thin, narrow fold. So as far as media consumption, I think it's still better here on the wide fold. Now, if you go to fill the screen, of course, a little more on the sides when you do it this way, but the narrow one, it cuts off my head here. On this one, you still have pretty much the full view. Even on the main screen, the front screen, some consider the inner screen the main screen, you still have a better media consumption or video viewing. So now watching them both this way, you can see you get stereo sound because the speakers are on both sides. So this would actually be the way to watch a video where you get the stereo sound. Now, while we're looking at the front screen, let's go ahead and look at apps on this. Let's look at Instagram. Now on Instagram, you can see here, there's a little bit difference here. This is more in a bar fold style, as you can see here on the Ultra. You know, it kind of does the same thing, except the Ultra being wider, you get a lot more video here. Or for some reason on the wide, not quite the same. So I don't know if this will bug you guys or not on the outer screen, but when scrolling, you know, it's no different. It's just, it looks like it's a little bit smaller, which is, it is a shorter, boxier phone. So there you go. And then if we just browse the web with them both closed, now that kind of matches here what we get on the wide. But the wide, I just think it's a much more pleasing way to view it. So the Samsung is still really narrow on your Ultra Z Fold or the narrow Z Fold. So there you have it, my brief comparison between the two. There'll be more between now and the date that mine arrives, because I'll actually get the live model on August 7th and hopefully a day or two before, because sometimes they make that happen. That would be great. And when that phone arrives, we're definitely going to do battles between the two. So now it's time to hear from you. What you think about these new models? Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more content. And if you got something on this video, smash that like button, because it really does help out the channel. Now, Samsung is selling cases with these phones, believe it or not, when you purchase. And, you know, they're right up there in price. You got $75 for their normal MagSafe case. But you know what? I did a video on a case for this one, which I would definitely recommend above Samsung's, because it's got a lot more features and you can get a nice bundle package. Check that video out here. Until next time, have a wonderful day and God bless.